Yo, what's good, YouTube? We front with another video because we can't be back with another video. And in today's video, we actually got a brand old news article, motion picture, cinematic event going on. So actually, we're gonna react to. I'm not in pain right now, but we're gonna react to my documentary. Nah, that's not my documentary. What the fuck? We reacted to a documentary, Jeffrey Dahmer. Obviously, this been like fucking hot topic. Netflix did a series about it. Everyone's talking about him. He's apparently like this most like evil, destructive guy, and we're just gonna see what the fuck this nigga was actually doing in detail. And then,
was Jeffrey Dahmer a thug?
why? Cause you talking about Jeffrey? Cause he was young. He's probably a young thug. Cause Jeffrey. I guess. But nah, not Jeffrey, dog. You know what I'm saying? He a cracker. Them boys don't fuck with crackers. You know, to my left we got
Slime Bro, you feel me? The one that knows the people.
And to my left we got.
Hilarious too, man, in the building.
And in the back we got Great Funny Game, man. We lit in this bitch. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There's no teachers on my channel, so you guys do need to sub. Make sure you comment, not the stars, but comment. If you fuck with Abraham, the president, the Abraham, if you want our social media, the link inside the bio.
Link inside.
Alright, even if you gay, we finna get straight into the video. Let's go. We actually finna stop the video now. So let's stop it.
After beer number one, the teenage Jeffrey Dahmer, already a budding alcoholic, sits in his hideaway, a fantasy. After beer number one, the teenage Jeffrey Dahmer, already a budding alcoholic, sits in his hideaway fantasizing about a male jogger he often sees running down the street. For some strange reason, his attraction to this fully grown man is somehow connected to the thrill he gets from dissecting roadkill. Young Dahmer has no idea how his obsession with collecting bones and cutting apart dead animals will be intertwined with his lust. He opens another beer, and then another, and so on until he's drunk. He peers through the window of his hut. There's a blue sky above. A blue jay perches on the branch of a tree and lets out its unmistakable screech. He scrunches a beer can and opens another. Nature, he thinks while looking at the bird. I must be a freak of nature. He's aware that something could be wrong with him. He wants to kill. He knows it's not right, but it's a feeling he just can't push back. He gets his baseball bat and waits behind a bush for the jogger to run down that same route again. Young Jeff doesn't know what he'll do. Not really. Maybe he'll knock him out, he thinks, and then keep the body. It just so happens that the man didn't jog that day. These were the warped thoughts of a boy that would become known as the Milwaukee.
Bruh, that man dodged a bullet or a bat.
That would dodge the jump. What's his name?
Dodge the fucking dog. He nigga dodged the Dahmer,
Dodge
bruh.
The Dahmer.
And the thing is, bruh, he don't even know.
Yeah.
He don't even know that.
Like, he don't even know he fucking, like, him staying home that day saved his fucking. I mean, he probably knows now if he's still alive, because I know it's an old story, but damn. What the fuck?
That boy lucky.
Lucky,
Monster, a deserving epithet to keep the body. It just so happens that the man didn't jog that day. These were the warped thoughts of a boy that would become known as the Milwaukee Monster, a deserving epithet if there ever was one. Dahmer's atrocious crimes not only shocked the nation, but his actions have perplexed medical science. He may have been a monster, but Dahmer was also soft-spoken.
They say he caught red-handed because his hands was filled with blood every single time he cut the body.
Oh, I don't think that's why he said that.
Oh, you don't think? Oh. I thought that's why they was.
That's why.
Oh shit! Because you know how like the news people like they be doing those little puns.
Yeah.
They be like saying shit, and it's like, man, I did a video on it.
Yeah.
Nigga, they'll probably be like, for instance, they'll be like, oh, local barber got cut up this evening. It's like, why would you say that? Because he a barber, you trying to put the pun on his.
The gun was lined up.
Yeah, the gun was lined up perfectly.
And he faded away.
Oh.
And they blew out the.
Oh, that's
His atrocious crimes not only shocked the nation, but but his actions have perplexed medical science. He may have been a monster, but Dahmer was also soft-spoken, intelligent, and strange as it sounds, he came across as a likable guy. That's perhaps one reason why it took so long to arrest him. He almost operated in full view of the cops. He was hardly a mastermind when it came to concealing his crimes. In fact, it's as if sometimes he wanted to be caught, and yet it took so long. We might ask how the killer
We gotta
was
be
caught.
real, bro. If we see Dahmer's face, we're not gonna think he's a killer.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He look like a good guy.
Yeah, he's not gonna. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover, bro. You can't put that past nobody, bro.
He seemed too dull. Like,
I think he looks too normal to the point there's something wrong. Like the normal SpongeBob, it was like there's something.
Yeah,
But
like,
then look, at that point, how could you tell what's normal? Someone that looks so normal, is it? So then what's normal?
That's why you can't believe everything that you see and half of what you hear.
Okay, so what do you believe?
Nothing. He just exists, and then whatever is in front of you, you judge it off that.
no, you believe what you see.
So what
But you can, but
see is
you
what you believe.
because you're not gonna see a murderer. You're not gonna know if he. Let's say if you don't know he killed people, you're not gonna see a murderer. All you see is a person. You think he's just normal, but murderers can be normal because people get murdered every day.
Oh,
So okay, so be real.
so
what
there's no
world-
one in the murder world.
I don't know what that means. But be real, be real. What world would y'all rather live in? Like a world where you picture everybody as murderers, so you be okay, like you be like 100% all the time, or a world where you just oblivious to everything. Like I don't think no one's a murderer. I'm just gonna live my life.
See, you can't think everybody's good people, and you can't think everybody's bad people. I think you could just be neutral and don't put nothing past nobody. I feel like the people who trusts everyone lives a good life, kind of because like they're not in constant fear and they're not constantly like have a wall up. But I feel like people who don't trust a lot of people, they hinder themselves from building relationships, but at the same time they save themselves from a lot of BS. So
Yeah, but you see, like that person who's open to everybody will have like a more of an adventurous life, meet more people, and have like a lot more
yeah,
experience.
but then people always have stories about how people did them wrong and this, that, and the third.
Yeah, but they also have stories of people who did them right. But you never gonna get there if you don't trust them in the first place.
Right.
But in Dahmer's case, another question needs to be asked. How did anyone realize he was a distressed and messed up kid? He came from a broken family, a family that was likely a little more broken than documentary films have made out. His mother, it seems, was what you might have called the overbearing type of matriarch. She was moody, often depressed, argumentative, and she wanted constant attention. This kind of behavior does not bode well for children in the family. She was a wreck, and by the time Dahmer was old enough to go to school, she was spending most of her days in bed. The household wasn't much fun at all for young Dahmer, especially since his father was away so much of the time. When he was back, the parents argued all the time. This is something that affected Dahmer deeply, more so after his mother tried and failed to take her own life. But by the time she was pregnant with another child, she wasn't much better. So this could have been the genesis of a killer in the making. But then a lot of kids grow up in chaotic households and they end up just fine. Many
Yeah, that's what I was
Get
thinking.
nutrients in every scoop.
I'm like,
High
there's a
five
lot of
and
people.
nutrition tastes right. Try Pediasure powder.
Netflix killed Blockbuster. Uber killed taxi cabs. And now there's a new income app that's
serial killers
There's a lot
experience
of people who
extreme
have
physical
broken
violence from
households,
their
they don't
parents
end up
when
like
they're
that.
young. But with Dahmer, it was more being put on the sidelines as his mother fell apart that seemed to bother him. He didn't like being abandoned, and that may explain his utter depravity later in life. After he was arrested, he always said his parents' blustery relationship didn't make him the way he was, but it would be hard to deny it shaped his very peculiar personality.
Yeah.
His father was an analytical chemist, and unbeknownst to him, it was teaching his son some things about science, which would lead to some of the grisliest crimes the USA, or the world for that matter, has seen in modern times. He taught his son how to bleach and preserve bones, something Dahmer had, which would lead to some of the grisliest crimes the USA, or the world for that matter, has seen in modern.
Bro, she got a dumpy.
Come on,
I was looking at it, but I'm like, she a cartoon. But I'm not a cartoon. I don't know if she'll fuck. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if she gonna fuck with a human
through the
nigga.
couch.
I've been thumping like, bro, his face is through the couch.
See, I don't know if she fuck with humans though. You think she'll fuck with a human? She's like, nah, boy, you a human. Y'all dirty.
Shit.
I mean, y'all cartoons, y'all be drawing me.
Wait, she
I don't
tried
know.
me out. I'm just gonna big ass
You just gonna know what he just said? He said, yo, John, my God. headache.
But nah, we gotta make a little bit of light. It is, you know, it is a bad situation.
Times. He taught his son how to bleach and preserve bones, something Dahmer evidently took on board even at such a young age.
Why?
Sometimes
Wait.
the two of them would-
Okay, I'm not knocking people. You know, you're a scientist, so you teach. I guess you know your son's scientist stuff. You probably a boxer, so you teach your son boxing shit. Probably a basketball player, you teach your son basketball shit. But you teaching your son how to preserve bones?
Nah, but like preserving bones is like an actual, like that's what they do in museums. It's like,
But why
something-
teach it? Like, why? What?
Maybe he want his kids to grow up to be a cool scientist
Oh,
like his
Fuck
dad.
that. At that age, like
Nah,
you gonna
he-
be killing animals and
Bro,
preserving
His
the
boy
bones?
just interested in
I got a bone to pick with you. Let's.
Ah, nah.
His
but
boy just interested in it. Like they both probably just felt like a common ground.
It's only bad
'Cause we looking at what it-
he's what he used it for.
Bro, I don't think a kid preserving, but killing animals and preserving the bones is
Nah,
healthy.
he didn't kill animals. He found roadkill.
Okay, fucking with that, take it.
But no.
Fuck it. Okay, so he's taking bones out of roadkill, right?
Yeah.
He's learning how to preserve it. This shit's dead, so you're digging in roadkill. There's blood, there's
No,
fur, there's like
That's
meaty
science though,
substances,
bruh.
and you
That's
have
science. That setting a frog.
But you
that
doing
setting
it-
a dead bird. That's regular science stuff.
But you can't do that. You can't do that to him, and then don't be around for like 5-6 months.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So now he's gonna experience it on his own. Nah, that's fucked up. Hell nah.
Found the garden and under the house for dead animals. When they found one, the father would show his son how you could bleach the skin and connective tissue from an animal. Young Dahmer was obsessed with this, but not in a way his father thought. Jeff loved the end product, the pile of shiny bones. These he and his father used to call fiddlesticks. Later in life, a forensic psychiatrist named Carl Wallstrom asked Dahmer if he ever tortured animals as a child. Hurting defenseless animals is often said to be something serial killers in the making do. It's about control, about living out sadistic fantasies. Dahmer told Wallstrom a story. He said when he was in grade school, the teacher asked his class to bring something in. The next day, Dahmer brought a tadpole. At the end of the day, the teacher gave that tadpole to another kid in class. Dahmer was absolutely infuriated. So much so, he went around to that kid's house. There he saw the tadpole in an aquarium. He poured gasoline in it and set it on fire. After telling that story, Dahmer turned to the psychiatrist and said, "If you want to call that torturing animals, I tortured animals." His parents moved around.
Somebody we know used to shoot animals with BBs, and then now, you know what I mean. And they was talk about animals. They people do that at first, and then they transition into shit. Killing birds and ducks with BBs. Like the duck ain't do nothing. Whack! And now you finna go.
And then it was like, you kill us. Like, if you killing a bird that ain't do nothing, imagine the human that did something to you.
Yeah, you kill a bird. Dude, that's not fly.
They were together and they
fly.
argued all the time. The kid got hardly any attention, less so after his brother was born. It gave him plenty of time to think, to go out exploring the nearby woodlands. He'd find dead animals and dissect them in the backyard shed. Once, he even impaled a dog's head on a stick and stuck it in the forest near his house. We won't get into everything here, but as his father later admitted, there were signs that weren't seen. Dahmer was quiet, sometimes moody. He had a shed full of animal parts. He spent much of his free time looking for roadkill, but his parents, as consumed as they were with their own disagreements, failed to see those signs. This was a kid who likely could have been fixed, but instead, his problems were being ignored. In 1978, just a few weeks after he graduated high school, he took his first life. He was living alone at this point.
You really gotta be in your
Parents
kid's
were
life because
He picked up a
everything's
hitchhiker
fragile.
named Stephen Hicks, just a young man himself at 18. The two went back to Dahmer's place to drink some beer. Dahmer later said that he found his new friend attractive, but when the conversation turned to attractive girls and how to meet them, he became aware that there'd be no love for him. For a few years, he'd known he was gay. When they were both drunk and the other guy said he wanted to leave, Dahmer went over to a set of weights. He picked up a large dumbbell, walked over to the guy who was sitting in a chair with his back to him, and he whacked him over the head. He subsequently strangled him, stripped him, used his body for sexual gratification, and like the dead animals he'd been so obsessed with, dissected him. Dahmer buried the body, but a few weeks later he dug it up. He then methodically stripped the bones of their flesh and dissolved what he could in acid. The solution that was left over he flushed down the toilet. As for the bones that were left, he crushed them with a sledgehammer and then threw the fragments around
You
him.
can't apologize for shit like that. It's not only you buried him, you dug the nigga back up, and then you crushed his bones. You can't be in court apologize. I mean, he did. Oh my God, bro, what? That's wild, bro.
Yeah, that's wild. I wonder at any point did he just think to himself like, yeah, like, don't do this. You feel me?
That's what they said in the beginning. Like Jeffrey Dahmer know what he did was wrong, but he enjoyed doing it. Like he knew that killing people was wrong, but like it's not as how we see it. Like, oh, killing people is like the worst thing in the world. He's like, I know it's wrong, but I'm still gonna do it.
And the thing is, I heard he kind of died the same way he kind of did other people. I think a nigga stuck some shit out, and like, I guess, I don't know, like a little bit of his insides was out. That's what I heard. It was like, you was always acting like you was out your body, now you really out your body. Like, come on, man, you doing all this shit, that's fucked up.
Nearby forest. After the murder, he tried his hand at higher education, but his persistent drinking wasn't exactly conducive to attaining good grades. He soon dropped out and joined the United States Army just prior to his 19th birthday. We won't go into everything that happened in the Army, but it's reported.
Wait, he threw a dumbbell at the dude?
Yeah, he's like smacked down back his head.
Oh, I was like, wait.
To attain good grades. He soon dropped out and joined the United States Army just prior to his 19th birthday. We won't go into everything that happened in the Army, but it's reported that he drugged and molested soldiers while stationed in Germany. This is something that became known much later. His drinking habits
This
never
nigga was
really
molesting people in
We
Germany?
won't go into everything that happened in the Army, but it's reported that he drugged and molested soldiers while stationed in Germany. This is something that became known much later. His drinking habits never really diminished, and by the time he was just shy of 22, he was discharged from the Army. At this point in time, his father and stepmother had seen how alcohol was destroying his life. That's the main reason why they sent him to live with his grandmother in West Allis, Wisconsin. She'd always had a calming effect on Dahmer, and they hoped she'd guide him out of the darkness. This worked to some extent, but after being fired from a job, he started drinking a lot again and acting out his fantasies. This started by exposing himself to women and children, something he was arrested for. At age 22, he paid $50 after being charged with indecent exposure. Soon after, he landed a job at a mixer at the Milwaukee Ambrosia Chocolate Factory, but his mind was far from settled. It was at this time he started thinking about control again, how he might enact his lurid fantasies on someone who could not say no. At first, he stole a mannequin and used that, but his grandmother was somewhat disturbed by the fact that he had one of those things stuffed into his wardrobe. She made him throw it out. So
That's a girl mannequin.
Nah, I'm pretty sure he just like, he said to someone that can't say no.
Yeah, but if you gay, why would you have a girl mannequin? Oh.
He's a weird dude,
act his lurid fantasies on someone who could not say no. At first, he stole a mannequin and used that, but his grandmother was somewhat disturbed by the fact that he had one of those things stuffed into his wardrobe. She made him throw it out. So Dahmer, even more frustrated, was now looking for a human doll to play with. It was around that time that he started frequenting the local gay bars and discos, although his favorite places for finding men were bathhouses. He met men, and at times he had some good times with them, but he was never content because of the fact that they also had some control. If that's confusing, this is what he said after his arrest. I trained myself to view people as objects of pleasure instead of people. His solution was to ply people with alcohol. Remember, he could drink a lot, so they would usually be the first to reach the point of passing out. He also dropped sleeping pills into their drinks when they weren't looking. It's thought he did this at least 12 times after meeting people in bathhouses. He would wait until they were out, and then he would have his way with them. These were not murders, but the crimes were heinous in themselves. What's strange is that
Bro, if you in a Haitian household, bro, you know they tell you don't eat from people, don't drink from people, don't even don't go to people's house. You feel me? In no way, shape, or form am I blaming these people at all. But I'm just saying, like, It's like that should be making sense. I'm not. It's like I don't think it's a high chance many people will run into a person like Dahmer, but it's just like people be fucked up out here. You feel me? And you don't know who's who and who thinking what and who brain.
It might not just be like, okay, cutting you up, beat you. No, it might just be somebody trying to kill you.
Is that because you gotta think about it? You gotta think about it. Nobody really knows you. As much as you think somebody knows you, they don't. Because there's a thought in your head that you never told no one. And no one on this earth would ever know that thought if you keep it in your mind. So you have information a lot of people don't know. So you can't trust people, bro. Because you probably fucking with somebody the whole time. He was waiting until 2030 to stab you.
Never arrested, likely because no one pressed charges. He was, though, banned from the bathhouses. When he was 26, yet again he was charged with indecent exposure. He got a 1-year probationary sentence for that. Had anyone been able to join a few dots, Dahmer's actions certainly would have portrayed a man on the edge, a dangerous man. But as things went, those dots were spread far and wide, and the only person that regularly saw him was his grandmother. Nonetheless, Dahmer knew that to satisfy himself, he had to take a different course than exposing himself in public and drugging men he met in saunas. That's when he got the idea to go back to his old ways, how to keep the dead, how to conceal the dead, to do what he wanted to the dead. He began his killing spree. He said the first murder of this new era was an accident. It happened in 1987 when Dahmer was 27. He said he woke up in a hotel and the guy was dead beside him in the bed with blood coming from his mouth. Dahmer left the hotel, got his hands on a large suitcase, and then transported the body back to his grandma's house. There, he dismembered it and got rid of most of it. He kept the head, which he boiled so he could keep the skull for his own sexual gratification. He killed again, much in the same fashion, drugging, strangling, and then dismembering bodies, often keeping skulls. When he was done with those skulls, he pulverized them with a hammer and dispersed the fragments someplace. Did his grandmother know something strange was going on? She actually asked him to leave, not being too fond of him always bringing men back to his room. She even complained about the foul smells in the house, a consequence of human decay. But she never once thought her grandson was a killer. He didn't stop. He couldn't stop. He killed more, and as his addiction got worse, he took more risks. He later said he found his 5th victim so attractive that he kept the head intact and preserved it.
I'm not believing that, bro. Look, I can't believe it, bro. Be real, bro. If a nigga killing niggas in your house, you telling me you not gonna know, bro?
Nah, I think I heard one time I heard like he drugged him so bad, where like when he doing stuff or whatever, they're not feeling like that, like they literally like human dogs. So I was like, maybe when you're doing that, you just, you so hooked on drugs, you basically, you like.
No, I'm saying.
He just.
No.
There's no scream or nothing.
But I'm saying the thuds though, the thuds, the fucking the stench, the blood that comes with it, the men that comes over.
No, but like stuff like that, he knew how to like take care of that. The only thing he didn't know was about like the smell. He pulverized, he left, like, and grandma old, senile. Well, I don't want to say senile, but like she's not like attentive as other people. She's just like, hey, Dahmer, make sure you go to
We
the
right.
bed.
Yeah, let me not be ignorant. You probably.
I feel like God forbid in any way a case if that was like my son or something, I would be able to know this.
Yeah, like I hope I'm never to that point where I can't see stuff that's like right in front of me. You feel me? Cause damn, and then she threw away the mannequin. This is like, that's good though, but it's just like that kept the sanity of some sort. Nah, probably not. He probably was yeah.
He's too scarred.
Parts 2. He flayed the corpse in his grandmother's bathtub, got rid of the parts he didn't want, and stored the rest in his room. In 1989, 2 days after his 29th birthday, he was given 5 years probation and 1 year in the House of Correction for a sexual assault. He spent some time behind bars, but was allowed to work too. Almost exactly a year after his sentencing, he returned to his grandmother's house to pick up his things, the most valuable to him being the human remains. At his new apartment, he started again. He picked up male prostitutes. He drugged people he met in bars. When they were unconscious, he strangled them. Sometimes he'd pose with their dead bodies. Sometimes he'd sleep with them. Often he'd take photos with them. One time he talked to his severed head while dismembering other parts of the body. All the time this was going on, he told his probation officer how horribly he felt, that he was lonely and depressed, that he often thought about taking his own life. He even alluded to his depraved sexuality, but strangely nothing ever came of it.
Bro,
To most people, he seemed like a nice.
this nigga talking about he feel horrible about it. Like, what?
Bro, okay, the thing is,
I'm not buying it, bro.
yeah, like, it's like, he's so hooked on, like, pleasure and lust. It's like his love for, like cutting up the people or whatever, or not people, but the animals, and just his lust for men combined. But it's just like, he was doing this often. And it's just like why you lust so, like, you know, like, for example, just regular people having sex, right? You don't have sex with like 5 different women every single day, or like every day, like you trying to go find another doctor or whatever, right? But it's like him is like his lust is like the main thing in his like life in general. It's not he killed somebody one time, then like a couple weeks later. It's like
his whole life was based on it. He
Yeah,
kept going to
his
jail
whole life-
for it.
yeah, his
He
whole
went to
life
the
was-
army.
Yeah.
Got kicked out. 5 years probation.
Like his whole life was based
It
around
just
this.
don't matter.
killing, lust, whatever. Companies.
Enough guy with a few problems on his mind. Believe it or not, residents of the apartment complex where he lived had told their landlord they were tired of listening to all the noises coming from that one flat. They said they often heard loud crashes
look,
like
up
heavy
too.
objects falling.
I
They said
like, she was thick,
residents of
she
the
was
apartment
thick,
complex
yeah,
where he
yeah.
lived had told their landlord they were tired of listening to all the
Nah,
noises
yeah,
coming
yeah,
from
yeah,
that one
yeah.
flat. They said they often heard loud
Whoa.
crashes like heavy
That's a
objects
little
falling.
milk.
They said a guy in there even used a chainsaw in the middle of the night. They also couldn't stand the terrible smells coming from that apartment. What smelled like dead animals. No one put 2 and 2 together. It was as if Dahmer was invisible, untouchable. Then in 1991,
hold
something
on.
straight out of the darkest kind of horror.
So be real, be real. You see this guy, right? You complaining about the noises. You said it smells like dead animals. You heard a chainsaw. You see him bring back people. Then you never see those people again. And you see he bring back people periodically. Like you probably see some guy with like some guy with a green shirt, whatever. Like 2 days later, you see a completely different person going up in there. Then you hear chainsaw noises.
never come
You
back.
smell you smell a dead, like you smell like dead
Dead
animals. You
But I'm gonna be
telling me
honest.
you can't put 2 and 2 together?
But this the thing. I'm gonna keep it real because I don't want to be ignorant. I'm gonna keep it. We just offering different perspectives. Like obviously Dahmer's wrong. He's sick. RP to the victims. I'm sad they faced those gruesome and terrible, terrible deaths. But it's just that outside shit that makes people like questions come up. But like people start thinking about questions. It's like, how the fuck all of that is right there and you don't think to say? I think people just want to mind their business or something like that. But I don't know, bruh.
No,
But I'm gonna take this
another
somewhere.
thing is that, like, okay, whoever you tell, because what you gotta understand is that now, if that happens, you'll be like, okay, like, well, all the things that have happened now, or whatever, including Dahmer, you'll be like, okay, something weird like that might be going on.
But there was
Like,
murderers. That's
No,
way
but-
worse than Dahmer before Dahmer.
No, I know, but like, bro, bringing like, for example, like bringing men, and the thing is that, like I just said, like it's kind of like it seemed almost normal. You feel me? Like
No.
like
Look,
he brought men. It's like I feel like that probably be like a little too extreme to think about. Like I think like he's doing something weird. He's doing something very
No,
weird. But
look,
he's
I
coming
know
in,
You gotta
killing
realize,
guys.
you gotta realize this is the time, like, no disrespect to the community, but being gay around that time was terrible, bro. It was like, I think that was actually a part of his niche, like, he'll tell, like, police, like, we gay, just so, like, the police wouldn't really pay attention like that. So it's like, people notice this shit. Like, if you see a white dude bringing back niggas back to back in a hotel, you go, I mean not in a hotel, but you're in your apartment, then it stank as fuck. And then you hear chainsaws and all type of shit. That's not funny, bro.
That's the way you said it.
I know, but you hear chainsaws.
That's not funny.
It's not. But it's like, that's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I can see how people could be oblivious to it because that's not really something, it's too unheard of to really think, okay, that's what that guy is doing. But those type of actions, like raise some sort of like awareness or red. It did though, because people was calling the police, but it's like, damn, like you hear all that type of shit,
Yeah.
and you never see those people again. Like, so I don't know, maybe people not paying attention that much, but I don't know.
Well, not to like bring race into it, but if he was black, he kept bringing white guys home.
Oh yeah, it would have been over with.
You feel me?
But it would have been the first.
That's true.
It's just his appearance that's like, bro.
That shit, he wouldn't even get a chance to be a serial killer.
Oh,
The
yeah.
first cracker would have been, or the first white person would have been over.
Like if Jeffrey Dahmer had like a different appearance, like a more, and like if he looked demented, like let's say he had like piercings like close to his eye, or like his hair crazy, or like he had like tats like across his neck, and
He's like a regular guy.
Yeah, he looks like a good guy.
Horror story happened. Dahmer had lured a teenager to his apartment. This time, not only subdued the guy with drinks and pills, but when the victim was almost out, he drilled a hole in his skull and injected hydrochloric acid into the hole. It was Dahmer's belief that by putting the acid into the so-called executive suite, the part of the brain called the frontal cortex, he could turn him into a living zombie. He could have someone forever, but that person wouldn't rot like all of his other victims. He left the young man alone on the couch and his zombie hoped his zombie would still be there. He wasn't. Dahmer looked for him and saw 3 women standing over him as he crouched in the street, looking awfully worse for wear. Dahmer tried to convince the women that he was the youth's friend, but they knew something was wrong. They told Dahmer they called the cops. The police turned up quite quickly, but after hearing Dahmer tell them he was the boyfriend of the youth, they believed him. Even when the women told them Dahmer had tried to kidnap the kid, and it was evident he was bleeding from a certain orifice. A cop said to one of the women, "Shut the hell up." They wrote it down as a domestic dispute. As you'll see, this interaction on the street would later cause problems for the police.
Like, if his butthole's bleeding, I mean, they was doing some sort of action. Because he drilled the butthole, or not even, I thought it was the back of the head. He drilled it in the guy's butthole or something like that.
No, he drilled him in the head. I don't think it's the same situation.
No, it's the same kid.
Then he didn't do it at that time yet. He probably didn't do it at that time. Cause when you drill somebody in the head, they're not walking. Like, I think the dude was just drunk and then he escaped. And then like the police saw him drunk before he drilled him. Cause if you drill somebody in the head, they not moving. You know what I mean? So he probably drilled him afterwards or something like that. Bro, like this person on Reddit was wild. I'm not even gonna say what they said now.
All they hear.
They was calling his victims a dolphin.
A dolphin?
He had a hole in their head. It was fucked up.
Police. This is yet another time Dahmer should have been caught. Given his background, this was one hell of a big clue. The cops walked Dahmer and the allegedly drunk boy back up to his apartment, where one of the police noticed a really foul odor. Little did he know that it was the decomposing body of a previous victim. When the cops were gone, Dahmer injected more hydrochloric acid into the head of the youth. This time, it killed him. He killed again, and he took his trophies again. With another man, he tried injecting water into the brain. That didn't create a zombie either. There were more murders and more of Dahmer doing despicable things with body parts. At this time, bits of people were...
How the fuck did the nigga... I don't think
He drilled... Once he drilled his head, pour hydrochloric, whatever acid in the nigga head, then he walked outside. And that's what I'm saying. He drilled it and then he said he walked away from the couch, and when he got back to the couch, he thought the zombie he made wasn't there. And then literally, he looked outside, he was talking to other people. So that means the teenager didn't die.
So he kind of did make a zombie a little bit.
No, he wasn't dead. He was just like, he had a hole in his head and acid in his brain. He probably just probably fucked up a little bit, because it probably didn't kill him yet. And after the whole talk, whatever, he brought the kid back up and poured more acid until he killed him.
That's just so crazy, because because he really could have been saved. Like,
If the cop said, okay, how about we take him to the whatever. Wow.
in that apartment. Police still hadn't linked any of the missing people to Dahmer. Then he met 32-year-old Tracy Edwards. This changed everything. He lured Edwards to his apartment too, but after struggling to get one handcuff on him, Edwards became suspicious. He noticed not only an oil drum, but a disgusting smell pervading the place. Dahmer also had a tape of The Exorcist Part 3 playing. Suffice to say, things didn't look good. He knew he had to talk his way out of this. Dahmer then grabbed a knife. He told Edwards he wanted to take photos with him. He put his head against Edwards' chest, saying something about his heartbeat, and then in a calm tone said he was going to rip that heart out and eat it. Time passed, however, mostly because Edwards was able to keep a conversation going. When he had his chance, he punched Dahmer in the face and made a run for it. Out on the street, naked, almost hysterical, he jumped in front of a police car.
Y'all never heard that bar by Juicy J? She eat your heart like Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh, you never heard that? Eat your heart like Jeffrey Dahmer. Or like Jeffrey Dahmer, some shit like that. Damn, I'm surprised I didn't hear that shit. That nigga said he had to talk his way out of this one.
Rip that heart out.
Bro, this is so fucking scary, bro. You in a new nigga house, bro. I feel God be with these victims, bro. Like this shit crazy. And then it's just the fact, like, bro, I feel like my first red flag would have been the smell, bro. And I'm not gonna drink or eat anything from a house that smell like that, bro. Like, I just can't. I don't know why these people did it. Maybe they was more comfortable. And I guess he was choosing people who really like didn't have that much to like, you know, live for. This guy, I guess he was a more like upscale type of dude. So like he peeped what was going on and just wanted to leave. Even other people peeped too, but I guess they just got too comfortable in a very sketchy environment. You know what I mean?
And eat it. Time passed, however, mostly because Edwards was able to keep a conversation going. When he had his chance, he punched Dahmer in the face and made a run for it. Out on the street, naked, almost hysterical, he jumped in front of a police car, shouting at the cops. He said a crazed man had threatened to kill him. He showed them the handcuffs still attached to one of his hands. He told them he'd been captive for 5 hours. This time, the cops took it seriously. They had no idea, they couldn't have any idea of what they were about to find. First was a knife. Then one of them opened a drawer and pulled out some photographs. He almost fell back in shock. There were pictures of bodies, some dismembered, lying in certain poses. The cop went over to his partner and said, "These are for real." They then wrestled Dahmer to the floor, whereupon Dahmer managed to squeeze out the words, "For what I did, I should be dead." Once in restraints, he showed them why. He opened the fridge door. Inside was a human head. Personnel from the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office were soon on the scene working with the Milwaukee Police Department to photograph the apartment. They found a bunch of tools that could be used for dismembering bodies. They also found 7 skulls, some of them painted. Elsewhere, there were 4 human heads, 3 partially skeletal.
Just imagine what you thinking, just being saved from that, and then like the police take you back to the nigga house and you found out there was a human head inside his refrigerator. Like you just got saved from this shit. You come back and you figure out there was a human head in there.
Damn.
And there was 17 other pictures or whatever. Like
So like, and then what the pictures was or whatever, it's like, he just dodged a dollar.
yeah.
He's really,
The nigga does it dumb, bro.
he dodged a dollar.
I ain't gonna lie, but like I think I would have been that desperate. So I would have been outside with my dick out. Yo, like there's no embarrassment of that. No, like bro, what? Yo, bro, y'all gotta be safe out there because you don't know who the fuck you gonna run into, bro.
With the nice bodies, a human heart, and what was described as large muscle fillets packaged in plastic bags. They found little food, and so it looked to them that Dahmer had been eating the bodies. The so-called fillets were all frozen, just like little packages of pork. So there were the body parts. There were the drugs he used to sedate people. There were the photos, and there were the tools Dahmer had used. Forensic pathologists were soon able to say what the cause of death was with some of the victims, and they were able to make identifications. They discovered the skulls into which Dahmer had drilled, understanding what kind of injury that had caused. At this point, no one knew much about Dahmer, but when questioned, he told police he tried to create zombie sex slaves by lobotomizing his victims. He didn't deny what he'd done, and instead gave information that helped police identify his victims. Out of the 11 bodies found in his apartment, 4 could be identified with fingerprints. Other victims' IDs were at the apartment. The rest could be identified through dental records. Later, activists say the reason the police work had been shoddy was because of the fact that the victims had been gay. The majority of the victims had also been African American. On top of that, some people said because most of the victims had been poor, it was a case of the less dead gone missing, meaning police don't work as hard when the victims are folks who live on the margins of society. But it was the 14-year-old who police had helped Dahmer take back to his apartment that really got the public angry. That's why there were headlines like this: anger building over role of police in Dahmer case. The boy was Laotian. 2 of the women who tried to help him were black, which led people to say the white police officers hadn't paid enough attention to them out of some harbored racism. They believed Dahmer instead, who, as you know, killed the kid shortly after. The cop later defended himself, saying there was just nothing that stood out, or we would have seen it. I've been doing this for a while, and usually if something stands out, you'll spot it. There just wasn't anything there. On February 15, 1992, Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in prison. Another life sentence was later added on. In total, he killed 17 people. At the end of 1994, while serving time in prison, Dahmer was attacked by a man in the bathroom of the gym. He was bludgeoned with a metal bar to the point of death, and he did die shortly after in the hospital. The guy that killed him, also in for murder, later said Dahmer didn't make a single noise throughout the assault. When Dahmer's mother was approached by the media, she said, "Now is everybody happy? Now that he's bludgeoned to death, is that good enough for everyone?" For a lot of Americans, it was a fitting end to a terrible story. Now, you need to watch H.H. Holmes, the most horrific serial killer in U.S. history, or have a look at
Let
this.
me make a diss track.
Not
on
no
this
racist shit, but
Are you
fuck
happy?
you.
Hell yeah, we happy.
Are you happy now, man? Fuck yourself,
And it's
bro.
your fault
Yeah, we
too.
happy.
You a part of the
It's your
reason.
fault. It's
You
your
was
fault.
leaving. You wasn't around, bitch ass.
Oh, smoking on Dahmer, mom, smoking on Dahmer.
He was raised in hell. Them boy
You
put up.
smoking out Jeffrey
Lock him
Dahmer.
out in
Fuck
jail.
that cracker.
That boy put up.
Fuck his mom.
Talk
Talking about everybody
That boy
happy
put
now.
up.
Bitch, we
Yeah,
glad.
he
Fuck
sad.
happy,
That boy
bitch.
put up.
Ecstatic. I ain't never been more happy than this in my life.
Put up. Look,
Fuck.
boy.
But I want
Got
everybody
bars.
to stay fucking
That boy
safe out
beat
there,
him up
bro.
behind the bars.
Stay fucking safe out there, bro. You don't know who the fuck you gonna run into, bro. And then they was actually right. You gotta look. Black people are oppressed, but regardless if you like gay people or not, gay people are oppressed too. Like especially during that time. So like there was like gay people just get killed randomly. Like if people find out you was gay or transgender, like you could just be walking down the street, niggas will whack you. Like that's really like they really hated gay people around that time. So imagine if you was black, and I actually did research on this. Like imagine you was black and you were gay. That's like super oppressed. Like it's like there's nothing for you. Like people don't give a fuck about you. Like they already turn your head. They already turn their head if you black. Now imagine if a black nigga said he gay. In 1980, it's like nigga what? I thought somebody was talking. It's like what y'all was saying? I'm dying, man. Fuck with you. I don't know. I think that was a fly. But what you was at? Not the dumb. It's like the hockey game. Niggas don't give a fuck about that shit. Well, crackers don't give a well. This is Florida slang. Crackers mean police, but like. People around that time police around that time did not give a fuck about blacks or gays, bro. So imagine if you're a black gay, you might as well don't even run to them. Look how long it took. You know what I mean? That's a prime example of it.
He was doing it from what, 1997?
That's why we smoking on his mom.
Smoking on his mom, smoking on his mom, smoking on his mama, smoking on
GDM, that GDM pack. You know, I said GDM. JDM pack. JDK, nigga. JDK. JDMK. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We out this bitch. Make sure you follow.
Hilarious Rock 22 on the square.
And you follow.
Nah, word, the one and only.
And you follow Great Fit. We out this bitch.